and welcome to Morning Coffee with Pizzan Academy. I'm Deanna, and this is Halloween week, so we have some fun macabre stories and tales to share with you. And today I want to talk about the master of macabre, Edgar Allan Poe. And so if you're not familiar with Edgar Allan Poe, he's called the master of macabre because he wrote in the 19th century. He wrote these horroring stories, these tales that had peculiarness to them. They involved cats and ravens and those things that we often associate with scary things. And so his story, his biography, is actually quite interesting. He was born in 1809 to two actors who were part of a traveling acting group. And by the time he was 3 years old, they had already passed away. And so he was adopted by a wealthy merchant from Virginia named John Allen. And Edgar Allan Poe was afforded quite a good education. He was sent to Europe. It was there that he received a classical education, and he fell in love with poetry, particularly the poetry of Lord Byron. So upon returning home, John Allen had hopes that Edgar Allan Poe would take over the family business and go in and follow his footsteps. That was one of the reasons why he was adopted to begin with. But Edgar Allan Poe had different ideas. He was smitten with poetry and writing, and that's what he wanted to pursue. In February 1826, Poe was admitted into the University of Virginia, and its founder, Thomas Jefferson, was still alive at the time. And he was known for being a great student. He had an amazing memory. And from a very early point in his education, it was noted that he had this great memory, was a great student, and even more importantly, for what would happen in his future, he had this ability to charm people and engage people with these great stories. A lot of them tended to be a little bit on the macabre side. And so he was known for being this great storyteller, even when he was a young man in college. Unfortunately, his time at the university was rather brief. His stepfather didn't fully fund his education. He didn't have enough to pay for both school and his living expenses, and so he took to gambling to try to make up the difference. But that even led to more debt. And because his stepfather was adamantly opposed to gambling, he was not allowed to even continue at university. So that ended his very brief time at the University of Virginia. So John Allen brought him back to Richmond, Virginia, where he made him work as a clerk. Unbeknownst to his stepfather, though, Poe was applying for other jobs at the same time. His stepfather found out, and he was kicked out of the house for being disloyal. So young Edgar Allan Poe, not even 18 years old yet, not fully educated, what was he to do? Well, luckily, he had talent. And before he was even 18, he published his first set of stories. And this led the way to some other opportunities. He worked as an editor at a literary magazine and was able to publish some of his stories in order to make some money. And it was from this point on that he devoted his life to writing. Edgar Allan Poe is known mostly for his stories of the macabre, like the Cask of Amontillado, Telltale Heart, The Raven, The Black Cat. Poe also wrote a story called Murders in the Rue Morgue, which is a detective story. And if you're a big fan of Sherlock Holmes, then this is very much in that style. In fact, some believe that it was Edgar Allan Poe that invented the detective genre. So if you've never read an Edgar Allan Poe story, we'll put some links in the description below so you can get started, and we'll include some of the greatest of his macabre tales since it is close to Halloween. If you like what we're doing, please share, subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications, find us on social media using the links below, and I'm off to tell my own tales today. Have a great one.